What's up, people? Good evening, happy Friday, and welcome back to G2M Game Design Bootcamp Day 2. Oh, that's 4. Day 2. How you guys doing? So good to see you here. Lots of some people from yesterday, some people new. Hello, hello, hello. Master abilities back. Arnav is back. Broken Lucador, Shravana, Ayush, Spartans. We have 1, 2, 3 Spartans in the house. Good to see you guys. Um, Naveen, Arun, Dhruv, Preet, Rohit, Gaurav, Shubham, amateur take on gaming, uh, Genu Games. Hello, hello, people. Good to see you. It's going to be awesome today. I have action-packed agenda for you. There's lots of stuff going on. So hopefully you guys have had dinner. If you haven't had dinner, do not leave to have dinner because you're going to miss some stuff. You can just like go and get your dinner and sit in front of the laptop and eat your dinner. Do not miss a single moment of today. It's gonna be awesome. So once again, tell me who's new today, who wasn't there yesterday. Tell me where you guys are from, and yeah, just let me know in the chat. Also, guys, by the way, I wanted to tell you. So I have um all of you guys, just in case there is an issue with the internet or something like that, make sure that you guys all join the Game to Make a Discord server. The link is in, well, not bio, sorry, the link is in the description. I'm just used to saying bio so much because of Instagram. The link is actually, I can actually change that. Hang on a second. Yeah, let me just change that. All right. All right, the link is in the description of the video, so make sure you guys join Discord. Also, the other thing is Instagram. Okay, follow me on Instagram because that is where all the action happens. I post there every single day. I have reels, I have stories, I give you tips, hacks about game dev, game design. So make sure if you're on this stream, make sure that you guys are on my Instagram as well. It's where you get all the latest updates. All right. So today we have, let's talk about today's agenda. And today, what are we doing? What are we doing? Okay. So today's agenda is game design a good career choice? That is what we're going to be talking about. Lots and lots of questions about whether you can earn a living, whether being a game designer in India is a good career choice when it comes to progression. Can you get promotions? What are the salaries like? Can you make money? Can I support a family? Stuff like that. And my answer to you is you'll find out today. We'll be touching a little bit upon salaries, career prospects. We'll be talking about the working conditions and what a typical day in the life of a game designer looks like. What does a game designer do all day? That's a very important question, and we will be finding out about that today. Okay. Okay. Oh yes. Once again, I have put link in bio. All right. Link is in the description. Okay. All right. And we will be talking about how you can convince your parents. So tell me, guys, I'm curious to know about which ones of you want to make video games and who exactly is opposing you or supporting you. Do you have parents or family who is supportive? Let me know in the chat about that as well. Okay, so let's go. And of course, the big thing today is that we're going to be having a game design workshop by Shagun Shaw. Some of you may know him from my live the other day. He's a good friend of mine, and he's one of India's most eminent game designers. he's actually going to be conducting a game design workshop, and that's going to be awesome. And there's also going to be an announcement of scholarships for the Gamer to Make a course. So stay tuned for that. All right. Okay, let's do this. So once again, for people who are new, I'll just talk quickly about myself. Who is Rahul Saigal? I am Rahul. I am the founder of Roach Interactive, which is my own game company, and also the founder of Gamer to Maker. Right. I have a day job which is creative lead at Entain, which is the world's largest online casino and sports betting company. Okay, and yep, next, I have been teaching game design and production for about 12 years at Backstage Pass, VIT Bhopal, and Srishti School of Art, Design, and Technology. All right. Next up, I have worked at Piranha Games in Vancouver. I've worked for Gameloft. I've worked for Hitpick Superstars. And my games till date have made around $75 million and counting when it comes to revenue. That doesn't go in my pocket. I get a salary, but that's how much games my money have made. Right. Next, now something for you guys. I want to talk a little bit about the game that I am making right now. At Roach Interactive, we also have a game studio. The game studio consists exclusively of my students from Game to Maker. I basically hand pick the best students for internships and for employments, and we are actually making a game. So I'm going to be sharing that now. So, yes, that was Mayu, Last of the Yaksha. This is a pixel art role playing game that myself and the people at my studio, we've been working on it for more than a year, and this game is going to be coming out next time. If you guys are interested in role playing games, do check it out. There's a link to the trailer from where you can also find a link to the Steam page. So do wish list. This is a game which is being created by my students. I have basically access, I like to think, to the best talent in the game industry. I always hand pick my best students to work with me, and this game has been made by my best students. All right, now let's get back to the PowerPoint, shall we? All right, now let's talk about game design careers, people. And so, first thing that you hear, a lot of people hear this, right? Beta, first do your engineering and then we will see, right? A lot of parents and a lot of old people are from a generation which is like 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, where the only safe job was either you join the IAS or you join the military or you become a doctor, or you become an engineer, and then lately it became MBA. So there are a lot of people who are of our parents' generation who have not seen the new job market. They seem to think that the best way for their child to have a stable life. For parents, what do they want? Parents basically want that children have stability in their lives. They have a stable income, they have a job. um, and most of them, to be honest, went through life like this because they didn't really have a choice of what they really wanted to do. They were looking for stability more than joy and happiness in their work. So their attitude is, listen, get a safe and secure job. If there's something you enjoy doing, you know that's not such a good idea. Safety and security is more important than enjoying, liking your job, and liking having a passion for what you do. It's not important at all. But the truth is that the world has changed. And this attitude has been with our parents for many, many years now. Not my parents, luckily, but I see a lot of people who have parents like that. And what happens when you have this kind of attitude? This, right? When everybody wants to become an engineer, everybody actually becomes an engineer. What happens is that you have 80% of engineering graduates who are unemployable. They are not employable. They graduate with a BTech degree, but they're terrible. They're not good engineers. And this happens because, look, guys, everybody was not fit to be an engineer. Like when I say not fit, they don't have the aptitude to be an engineer. I didn't have the aptitude to be an engineer. I had a different kind of aptitude. So when a lot of people are forced to do something that they don't really want, they're not going to be happy. They're not going, at the end of their educational program, they're not really going to be unemployable because they didn't learn much. They didn't have the aptitude for it. So a lot of you and a lot of people actually fall for this trap. Oh, no, it's not a trap. Like you kind of get forced into a particular education, a particular lifestyle, and that's just the way it is. Okay. So what does that lead to? Now, a lot of you have this question. I have seen so many people asking this question, and that question is, why are we not able to make good games in India? Where is the Indian God of War? Where is the Indian GTA? Where is the Indian Witcher? Why are there no good game studios? Right? Yes or no? Let me know in the comments what you think the reason is for this. Firstly, how many of you, if who wonders about this, and also who thinks they know the reason for this? Let me know. Right? Okay. All right. So remember yesterday, I'm just a little bit of a flashback from yesterday's presentation where I talked about lack of knowledge among students. Yes, Parag, that is one very, very good reason. But I'm going to tell you also one of the big reasons. This is how a game studio works. Apurv, not much recognition? No, that's not really the reason. Look at the screen. This is how a game studio works. You have a game programmer, you have a game artist, you have a game tester, you have a game build, you have a game designer, and you have a design document, right? This is the process of making a game. And as you can see, one of the most important roles in game development is actually game design. Right? Now, let's look at this next slide. This is the West, right? This is in Western countries, which are, the US, Canada, Germany, Japan, etc., where people make big, beautiful games. All your GTA, everything kind of comes from here. So, in these countries, if you look at the ratio of game programmers to game artists as to game designers, generally you have, if say suppose you have 100 game programmers, you're actually going to have around 90 game artists, and you're going to have approximately 50 game designers, right? This is the approximate ratio of game dev roles in the West, right? And when I say the West, this is in the US, Canada. These are the people who make beautiful games. Right now, let's have a look at the same ratio, but for Indian studios. Can you see that? This people is the situation in India right now. If you have 100 game programmers, everybody wants to be a programmer, right? Everyone and his uncle and his chacha and his daughter and son wants to be a game programmer. Everybody wants to do BTech. Everybody wants to do CSE. So we have so many programmers, also out of which maybe 80% are not employable because the colleges are not good and they're not actually taught proper game programming. So, of all the people who get into game programming, maybe 20% of them are actually competent and the others are not. So, even though if we have 100 game programmers, we only have 50 game artists, right? So Toby is asking, is it worth being a game artist in India? My friend, let me tell you a story. 5 days ago, I'm working with someone who's actually setting up a game studio. I'm helping them to find artists. So there was someone with 9 months of experience as an intern, graduated from college, 9 months of experience as an intern, where he was earning about say 15,000 rupees a month. That's 1.8 lakh rupees per year. And I helped this person. This person is an environment artist. I helped this environment artist get a job at a game studio at 7.2 lakh rupees a year. And this person has not even 1 year's experience, less than 1 year's experience, 7.2 lakh rupees. So yes, if you're a good game artist, people are going to be throwing money at you. They're going to be there. There's going to be auctions for you if you're a competent game artist in India, right? So yes, it is at this point, it is very, very much worth being a game artist. And as you can see right now, game designers, almost none. Very, very, very few game designers in India, right? So you have lots of people doing game programming, some people doing game art. Is 25 age too late to start a game design development career? Do we need a degree as a game designer? I'm going to ask. So firstly, do we need a degree as a designer? You don't need a degree to be a designer, but if you want to work in India, if you have a degree, it really helps. Your degree can be anything. It can be BSc, BFA, commerce. That's fine, right? If you at the entry level at game companies in India, they ask, hey man, can we see your degree? And it doesn't have to be, you can even do like bachelor of philosophy and you can still get a job as a game engineer. They don't really care. It's just that you, as a game designer, you just have to have a degree. So do have a degree. It's really useful. It gives you credibility. But no, if you want to get a job as a designer, you have to understand the work, right? Your piece of paper doesn't count. Next, somebody's asking, is 25 too late to start a game design development career? And my answer is yes. I was in the merchant navy, guys, till I was 33 years old. Till 33, I was a merchant naval officer. I was on ships. And at the age of 33, I changed over from the merchant navy to game design. So, yes, my friend, 25 is absolutely nothing. Right? Karthik is saying he became a game designer at the age of 29. That is awesome, man. That is absolutely awesome. Um, yes, yeah, they ask for proof of work. That is right. Okay. So, now, next up, see the situation. So many game programmers, not so many artists, and very, very few game designers. And what happens? This happens, my friends. This happens. In India, this is the best Indian game right now. What do you guys think about that? So, Ludo King. Now, I'm not saying Ludo King is a bad game. right? It's a pretty successful game, but this is India's top game right now, right? This is what, if you see, game studios that have made money famous, it's Ludo King, right? Now, that is the reason. Let me go back to this slide. This, my friends, is the reason why we don't have good games in India. We have lots of programmers, not enough artists, and we have very, very few game designers in India. It is a serious problem. If you now, let me go back to this. Now, this process is how video games are made. If you don't have enough game designers, how are you going to be able to make good games? It's going to be very difficult. So, there are many reasons. One of them is a lack of good design and art talent in India. It is a serious, serious problems. Okay, it is a serious, serious problem. So, next, I'm going to talk about the career prospects for game designers. Can you make a good living as a game designer in India? I'm sorry about this formatting. It seems to have gotten slightly messed up. Okay, so there are more than 300 game studios in India, guys. Not 50, not 60, 300 game studios in India. And most of them need game designers, right? They're struggling. They're employing kids who are straight out of school, who don't know much, and they are getting jobs. At this point, it is not at all difficult to get a job as a game designer in India. There is massive, massive demand. Okay. And believe it or not, starting salaries are actually higher for designers and artists than they are for programmers. Now, this may be a big shock to a lot of you, but at the entry level, game designers and programmers are actually making better money. Game designers and game artists are actually making better money than um, programmers. It is a real fact that I'll be telling you about, right? Somebody is asking about the salary of a game designer according to experience, and I'm going to be talking about that little bit today. And there's something very, very special that I'm going to be showing you right now. Okay. Also, as a game design and an artist, there is actually very, very good scope for moving abroad and getting a job these days. I know game artists who moved abroad, who moved to Canada, Europe, US, and actually got jobs, and especially Scandinavia, as game designers and game artists. All right, so now I'm going to be, so tomorrow, guys, there's a friend of mine. His name is Joseph. He runs a top end recruitment company in India which specializes in game recruitment. And his name is Joseph Cairns. He's originally from the UK, and he's going to be having a talk tomorrow. And I'm going to be giving you a sneak peek of this talk now.
Just the Indian games market is the hottest I've ever seen it in the last 15 years that I've been here in India. All positions are in high demand, but especially developers, tech artists, product managers, and designers. Designers is one of the most high demand position right now. Historically, clients have complained that there just aren't enough designers in India, and people haven't grown up playing games the same as they have with in Western countries. But this is changing, and you guys may very well be examples of this sort of first wave of people who've grown up playing games all their life and playing international games. So the kind of salaries that we have from clients right now for experienced designers, we've got, sort of mid, senior and lead level designers, 3 to 10 years of experience. You could expect to pay about 8 to 25 lakhs CTC per year.
All right, so that was Joseph. And trust me, guys, Joseph has about 14 years of experience in the game industry, right? In the Indian game industry. And his job only consists of finding people for companies, And he's really expensive. He runs a really high end recruitment agency, so he really knows what he's talking about. He's a personal friend of mine, and he actually gave a talk in which he's going to be talking about going into very, very great detail. He's going to be talking about salaries, he's going to be talking about positions, he's going to be giving some really awesome inside information. And this is tomorrow, so make sure that you do not miss this particular talk. All right, getting back to it. So now I'm going to be talking to you about what a typical day as a game designer looks like. Now, a typical day as a game designer looks like this, because a lot of you may not understand what exactly a game designer does. I know many of you know what a programmer does, writes code. What does an artist do? An artist creates assets, because you can do all that stuff, right? A lot of people don't really know what game designers do. Okay, I'll take some questions now. Can I take a bachelor's degree in game development without any background till 12th? Yes, you can. Um, is there any kind of Somdatta is asking, is there any difference between the kind of work we showcase for jobs in India in comparison to abroad jobs? No, it's just a question of quality. That's all. You need high quality. Okay. All right. What does a typical day as a game designer look like? Okay, first thing, this is imaginary in the sense that, but this is a very, very typical day. First thing that a game designer usually does is that you have a morning scrum meeting with the teams. Now, this is standard in game development. So as you can see, everyone's kind of sitting around. You are in your game studio. Everyone say, "Hey guys, all right, scrum time." So you either stand or you get your chairs together. Everyone's kind of sitting in a circle. Everyone's, "Hey guys, good morning. How you guys doing? How was the weekend?" You chit chat a little bit, and then you start talking about your work. It's run by the scrum master or the team lead, so everyone goes one by one. So first the person says, "Hey man, so yesterday I was actually trying to implement this particular feature, and I did this, and I had this problem, and I managed to complete this, and I handed over to I kind of hand it over to somebody else, right?" And then the other person says, "Oh, that's great. This is what I was doing yesterday." So basically, everybody understands what the other person is doing. And as a game designer, you actually have to be in different scrum meetings. It's possible that as a game designer, you may be in one scrum meeting with the design team, then you may be in a different scrum meeting in which there are artists and programmers. So it's not just one. You may be part of two or three different scrum meetings. This is where everybody finds out what the other people are doing. You give and get feedback from people, and you talk about what work you're going to be doing during that day if you face any issues. So it's a great way to kick off the day, and it happens in all game teams. And this is how a game designer's typical day starts, right? Next, playing the latest build of the game. This is a really, really big part of a game designer's job. So whatever game you're working on, right, even if it's like really buggy, even if it's like an alpha stage, you play that game. You check the build that has been delivered by the programmers, and then you actually sit down and you make detailed notes. You're playing the game and you're saying, "Okay, there's a bug, this is not working well, this is not looking good, this is good, this is good." So you actually make notes while you're playing the game, and then you actually share that with the artists and programmers and whoever's there. You have to check the gameplay, you have to check the user interface, the out, sounds, animations, and everything. So as a designer, it's your job to make sure that the game is looking and playing as well as it is supposed to be. And then these points that you make, you have to share them with the leads. You have to kind of tell uh, the testing lead that there are problems. You have to talk to the programming lead or the specific programmer. So game testing is a big, big part. And of course, this is, you have to follow up what you did in the morning meeting, right? This is 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. 12 o'clock to 12 p.m., a game designer typically would maybe work on documentation, editing the game design document. So in yesterday's stream, we went over game design document. I showed you a concept document, and I showed you a proper big game design document. So hopefully the people who are there will be understanding, who understand what the game design document is. So whatever changes you are making to the game, you're actually going to update the game design document constantly. And then maybe you'll be creating a separate feature document for a new system, which could be like a leaderboard or something like that. And then maybe you're going to open Photoshop and you're going to be making a mock-up of the pause screen or some screen in the game. And then it's possible that you'll spend some time making a flow chart for the screen flow. For example, the game launches, it's the splash screen, and then you have the main menu, and then you have the play, and then you can have game over, and so that kind of a flow chart, right? So typically you would spend a couple of hours doing this every day, right? Next up, as a game designer, you may even actually be doing level design. So, building new game levels. So, a game designer would actually spend 1 or 2 hours actually building the levels of the game. Maybe like there are 30 levels in the game and only five have been built. So, that day, okay, I'm going to spend some time actually building level 6. So you fire up Unity, and then you open up the scene and you start placing triggers and events. And what you have to do as a level designer is that you have to play the game. So you place a trigger at a certain point, and then you start playing the game and you walk through it, and then you test it, and then maybe this is not working so well, maybe I should place a trigger a little bit further. So then you go back, you place a trigger a little bit further, and you walk once again. Sometimes you have to play the same level 200 times, and you have to keep making small changes. Also, for example, you'll be tweaking the mechanics like player jump height, physics, etc. Okay. Next up, slide 22. Okay. All right. Where were we? Yes, tweaking mechanics like player jump height and physics. All right. Okay. Next, very, very important part of the game designer's job is actually having meetings with people. So typically 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. it's your job to actually sit down with programmers, artists, and product team. You're going to be clarifying docs. So it's possible that a programmer may say, hey, I mean, I read the game design document, but I'm not really understanding how this feature works. So then you will, what as a game designer, you will do is that you will go and you will sit down with the programmer and maybe make up a diagram and actually explain what exactly it is, how the feature works. You'll be doing this with testers, you'll be doing with artists, you'll be doing with the product team. So a game designer's job is to keep having meetings and talk about the game, the progress of the game, right? Some people may have doubts, difficulties. Also, the testing team you have to work very closely with, because they have to know what to test. They have to know how the game is going to be. So you'll be dealing a lot with the testers as well. As well as you may have something like a call with the IP owner. So imagine that you're making a game which is based on Sonic the Hedgehog or something like that, right? Or maybe you're making a game which is based on Chota Bheem, God forbid. So you have to basically sit down with the people who own the IP of Chota Beam, and they're going to be giving you instructions saying, hey man, can you make sure that this mechanic is like that, because they want to safeguard their own IP. So it's possible that you as a game designer will be working with the people who actually own the IP that is being used in that game, right? This is also one of the things. Okay. All right. Now, we are coming to the part where I'm going to be talking about how you can talk to your parents, right? Many people here have difficulties. They ask me, sir, how do I convince my parents? How do I tell my dad that I want to make video games? And here are my answers. First thing, do your research first. Okay, don't just walk into a conversation with your parents saying, I want to make video games, and then they'll tell you, oh, but there's really no future in video games. I said, no, there is a future. I've heard there is a future. They say, give me proof, right? I would recommend, I've actually made many videos, not many, I've made a few good videos which are specific to whether game development is a good is a good career choice. So do your research. Okay, look at those videos. You have a better understanding of what game development or what a game development career looks like. Next, go to job sites. As I said, do your research. Go to Naukri, go to monster.com, go to Glassdoor, go to LinkedIn. Over there, search. Say, if you want to be a game designer, search for game designer jobs. You will find many jobs there. You'll be able to do some research on what salaries are there. Do your research. If necessary, save those, take screenshots, right? Save those sites. Sit down with your dad or your mom or your uncle or whoever is not convinced, and then show them this and tell them, look, there are jobs, there are good salaries, and many of them you'll even find out the salaries about how much 1 or 2 or 3 years experience is. Also, guys, this video tomorrow, which is coming from Joseph, is awesome. So I'm going to be at some point, I'm going to actually put that up on my YouTube. I'm not sure when, but it'll be up. And then you guys can actually show it to your parents and say, okay, look, this is a recruiter. He's telling you what game industry looks like, right? Um, all right. So, guys, today is going to be a day where we're going to be having a workshop soon. So, I am going to kind of bow out now. And before I go, let me quickly tell you about what's coming up tomorrow, right? Tomorrow is going to be the most epic day of the boot camp because I'm going to be teaching you guys how to create game design documentation. I know you guys have a lot of questions, so we'll actually be doing a quick exercise where I'm going to show you how to create a game design document. I'm going to teach you how you can specialize and get a high starting salary as a game designer. We're going to be having a guest appearance from Joseph. That's going to be epic. And we're also going to be talking about the gamer to make a game design program. Now, I want the game industry in India to grow. Okay, I have a day job. As I mentioned, I have a good day job, which, I earn really well. So I don't really need to do this, but I still do because I'm very passionate about teaching people. I love teaching people. I really enjoy it. It gives me making games, and teaching people how to make games is something that really right. So Shagun is going to be coming now, and he's going to be having a workshop in which somebody can win a prize, which is actually a scholarship. So I want to offer a scholarship to people who are really good. Also, for women, I'm actually offering scholarships for women, and I'll be giving you details about that tomorrow as well. So, all right. um Looks like Shagun is in the house, people. All right. Let's remove this and let's add Shagun.
Hi, Rahul. Hi, thanks for having me. Hey, everyone. All
Hey,
right.
so good to see you, man. The other day, Shagun did a live podcast with me on Game Design 909. So it's also on the YouTube channel. Sometime do check it out. So once again, for people who don't know Shagun, Shagun is a good friend of mine, and Shagun lives in Mumbai. He is one of the most eminent designers in the Indian game
Oh,
industry. I love his work. Shagun has worked at Zynga, and he has worked at Byju's as a lead designer. He's a very accomplished, very well read game designer, and you guys are going to see that for yourself soon. Okay,
okay.
so without further ado, I'm going to hand you over to him, and he's going to actually give you a workshop which you guys are going to be able to do, and this is to kind of give you a taste of what game design is all about. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be awesome. So do it. Try your hand at this exercise. And without further ado, I shall remove myself. Take it away, Sugar.
All right. Hi, everyone. So, we are going to do a quick workshop where I'm going to share my screen and tell you all about what's going to happen for the next 20 minutes. Okay, let's give me a second. Just a moment. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, all right. Can everyone see my screen? Oh, well, can you see what's on? Yes, excellent. All right. Sorry for that. It took a moment. So in this bootcamp, we're going to talk about how to actually make a game. It's a bit of a summation of what Rahul's already been going through with all of you. So I'm going to run you through, well, let me just show you. We're going to go on a bit of a quest. So I'm going to tell you how somebody starts making a game, from the basics, from a piece of paper where you go from there. And then the kind of hats that game designers wear or people in the space wear. And then after that, we're going to go on a bit of a quest, and you guys are going to do some work at home on your own and then send it back to us. We're going to find a winner and give out some prizes. All right. So how do you start making a game? As with all things, there are two phases to it, right? From plan to prototype. So the first thing that runs behind any game is an idea. Now, if you're an indie game designer, if you want to just do something on your own, maybe you haven't joined the industry yet, and you have a dream of making a game. You've played games all your life, and there's something burning inside you that you have to put it down. But how do you go ahead from there? How do you actualize it? How do you get to prototype? And maybe you're in a studio and your boss comes to you and says, okay, we're thinking of the next big hit. Figure it out. What could it be? Okay. So the first thing you have is your idea. Now, there are many ways you can go about that. Just write it down. Maybe it's something that you've already been thinking of for a while. But the important thing that you should all know is that ideas only count for 5% of the work you do. And that was a funny person posting over there. But ideas count for only 5% of what you do. A lot of it is execution. A lot of it is going and doing some research. So what kind of research do you have to do at the highest level? The first thing is check the market. Now, let's say you want to make a game in the Dark Souls space, right? In a Souls-like game. You're going to go and figure out how did the Dark Souls games do, right? How did From Software perform? How long did it take to make those games? How much money did those games make? You will find some very interesting things in that space. And then you will also check who else is making Souls-like games, right? So that is how you start doing your research. You check the market to validate if there is actually an opportunity for you to make something new. And then let's say you get some good data and it says, yes, I think I can make a good game here. I have a fair chance of putting it out in market, right? Then you have to study games. Now, I'm saying this as just one person. Eventually, it'll be you as a team. Games are made collaboratively. And this is just a little summary. In studios, there's a lot more that goes into it, right? You'll be talking to a lot of people to make these things happen. But as a designer, you want to go and study games. It's not enough just to look at how well something performed. You actually have to play it to understand what worked, what didn't work, how is it in its entirety. Then you take the pieces you like, but you have to understand, you have to reverse engineer what they do. As you go through those things, as you go through this journey of validating what your idea is, you have to ask yourself the question, can I actually make it? Now, most of the time, if you're a single person, there's only so much you can do. You can only code enough to get to a prototype. Or maybe you don't need to code. Maybe you can't code. Then you need to figure out what skills you have that let you test your idea, to put it in front of your friends, put it in front of your parents or whoever to play the game. Right? Ultimately, ideas are great, but unless you can play something, you can never really tell if it's going to resonate with people. And as you think about what you can and cannot make and what you need to make it, you will come to, okay, if I can only do X, but I have to go to, if I can only do one thing in it, not X, but I have to do 10 things, how do I do the other 10 things, right? The other 9 things. And then you sort of scope down. Now, this is an act of scoping where you figure out what is possible to do and what your prototype needs, the bare minimum it needs in order to be playable, to feel fun, to help somebody understand what exactly your game is about. So now we move on to creating. And this planning is going to take you a long time, right? But the first thing you do when you want to just create a game is go on pen and paper. Draw it out on a graph sheet, use a dice, use cards, use a little bit of math just to figure out what it's like in the back end. You can prototype most games on a sheet of paper, unless, let's say, the game demands animation. So Elden Ring, great example. It's a game that needs to actually be coded. It's very difficult to actually put it on pen and paper, mostly because a lot of that game's combat loop is based on animation hitboxes and animation timings and so on and so forth. Hollow Knight is another example, Andrea. So you want to figure out what can you prototype. But now RPGs often can be made on Excel sheets. So just on a sheet of, on a notebook, saying, okay, in a notebook where you do the math. Anyway, based on what you do, you come to a prototype and then you keep playing it and you keep changing it, editing it. But the idea is to get to prototypes as fast as possible so that you can keep fixing it and iterating on it. And through that, get more people to buy into your idea, or throw it out before you spend too much money on it. So let's talk about the kind of hats people wear in the game space, right? Now, there are so many jobs that can be found in the games industry, and I've only picked 3, but I've sort of left the other hats down there to show you so many other things that are there. I have broken them up into mechanics design, user interface design, and narrative design. I think these are 3 very interesting hats that someone can wear. And then those mechanics design is often a term that applies to so many different kinds of jobs. And I'll tell you about that also in a minute. But essentially, when you talk about game mechanics, you're talking about the actual rules of the game. You're talking about some of the math that's gone into it. Sometimes you talk about the internal economy. Sometimes you're talking about the specific features. A lot of it changes from game to game. But essentially, the mechanics are the core elements of the game that make it playable. The next thing is the user interface design. Now, as a core game designer in a studio, you will find that user interface is something, or user experience is something that you as a designer will need to know about. You will not always be drawing the actual thing, but typically a company will have someone who's a UI specialist who will actually draw the wireframes of how the game will look and feel. They will have a conversation with you, and one of you, the designer or the UI specialist, will be the owner for how the interactions work, how the controls feel. There's a lot of UX that goes into making PlayStation controllers feel really good, right? They will come up with the layouts of the game, where the health bar is, and so on and so forth. And then the last thing is very self-explanatory. It's narrative design. It's the people who write the stories. They are principally storytellers. They're the ones who come up with the themes, the plot. They're the ones who give life to your worlds. But actually, in reality, when you go to big studios, you will find these kind of jobs broken up more and more into into specializations, where you'll have a systems designer who will possibly only deal with the core mathematical systems in a game, or you have a features designer who says, okay, 4X game, here are all the various features that we need. In the example of Candy Crush, to give you a mobile example, a feature would be a board mechanic. Or maybe it would be something like a meta feature that says, okay, if you do XYZ things by playing the game, you'll get X kind of prize. Then you'll have a combat designer, for example, depending on the kind of game you're making. You'll have, and even the combat design requires math. You might, in FPS design, you're talking about like recoil, you're talking about scatter charts, and so on and so forth. And then sometimes you'll have technical designers, and this is also a very rare job. If you are a technical designer, you will always be doing well for yourself. There'll always be demand for you, because technical designers are the people who often have to script and code. A lot of other designers just deal with Word docs, with Excel sheets, but technical designers are the ones who are in the engine making things happen. Level designers are the ones actually putting the worlds together using Unreal. So then you've developed a tool specialization. And then, of course, you have like programming specializations, sound design. Sound design is, again, you don't have to be a sound engineer, although you should understand how sound works, how those elements are, and then you will be interfacing with other kinds of designers. You have quest designers, then you have art, VFX producers, and many, many other hats, too many to list over here. But this just gives you an idea of what kind of roles come in this job. So let's move on to the quest that I have set for you. We are going to try and make a game, right? And this is where I'm going to leave you with a task. You guys get to work on it. Rahul is going to give you a link where you can share it, and we're going to find the best entries, and you're going to win a prize. So the quest for you is all of you. I want all of you to work on making a pen and paper prototype. And this is a great exercise because it helps you start really getting into game thinking. A lot of the roles that I've just discussed, or the hats I have discussed, are only distinguished by the kind of mindset that you put yourself into. It's about the kind of questions you have to ask yourself. And as games get bigger and bigger in scope, it's very difficult for only one person to do everything, because you're thinking about art, story, UI, sound, you're thinking about releasing the game, you're thinking about how to market it, you're thinking of how to build your meta, your features, your economy, your animations. It is enough to melt a brain. But at this stage, we're going to make a prototype. So I've given you 3 specializations. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So the first thing I want you to do is write down your dream game concept for a PC and console game, or even mobile if you want, but let's have some fun. Let's do PC or console today. The next thing I want you to do is tell me what it's about. Okay, what is the setting? What is the story? It can just be a couple of lines. Think about who would be your main character in there. What would they do? How would they function? What is their purpose? Build a bit of a life to them. The next thing that we're going, and then of course you also want to have a beginning, a middle, and an end, where the beginning would be the early stages, the middle is the heart of the game, and the ending is of course the final victory of the game. The next thing you want to talk about I want you to do is tell me how the game works. So what can the player do? What challenges do they have to overcome? What are the rules? How do you win or lose? How does the player play the game? And maybe you'll say it's a game based on poker. So depending on the kind of pairs, the hands you get, combinations you get, you win certain kinds of points, you get certain kinds of abilities. Maybe it's a dice-based game. Maybe you want to do something more involved because it's PC console and say, okay, it's going to be an FPS game and you have to go and shoot things. That's all fine. Write it out, and then the last thing I want you to do is, well, not the last thing, the last thing on this slide is tell me what the cool factor of your game is. What makes your game stand out? Now, this is just the high level process. In a studio, this would have been called a one-pager, with more details, but essentially a one-pager, right? Just creating a concept. But now what I also want you to do is, once you've got a concept, once you've done the work there, is do a little bit of research. It can be a half hour of research, right? Check what games are out there, what they are already doing, and then start asking yourself, what would you need to finish this game? What kind of skills would you need? What kind of features have to be in your game to make it great? And I don't know, I guess there are some really excited people in the chat over there. But what kind of features would make the game great, and what would you need to do? And then finally, this is the challenge for each of you. Wear a hat. So pick from mechanics, UI, or story, and do a section where you detail it out. Now the way you can make this game concept is you can make it in PPT, you can make a PDF, you can make a quick video if you want, or just draw in your notebook, make some notes and take a photo of it, and share it with us. And then tomorrow we're going to go through it. We will give you feedback based on the best ones we find. We'll talk about that. We'll break it down. And the winner will get a prize. So Rahul, I'm going to hand it over to you actually in a minute. But I think it's time where you, where you could share the links to that. Also, folks, if you have any questions about this, please put them in the comments, and we can clear that up before we go ahead.
Yep. Brilliant stuff, Shagun. So now, guys, there's a lot to absorb here. So what's going to happen is that the instructions that you have just seen are going to be in the Gamer to Maker Discord server. Okay, the link is in the description. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be posting this link. Firstly, let me know, guys, who's interested in doing this, because this is proper game design stuff. Okay, this is game design, proper game design.
For what it's also worth, if you make presentations and you put your email there, I will go through each one and give you all feedback. I see that Jinesh has put a comment saying it's for publishers, but actually I want you to think of this more as an internal document. to start building your mindset about how to make games. You're not showing it to publishers. You're going to show it to, if you want to show it to a developer, an artist, or your parents, and say, this is what I'm making. That's the key thing. It helps you get clarity of thought, where you break down an idea and say, okay, maybe this idea doesn't work. Maybe this idea needs more thought. Yes, please use Google Documents, use Word, use a notebook if you want to write by hand. Everything is fine.
Yes, and also Spartans. So I think Anirudh is asking. Anirudh, he's in my course. Totally, you can do it, dude. Of course, you can do it. Everybody can do it. Even if you're already in the game to make a course, go ahead and do it. This is a great exercise for you guys to do. Right. The time for submission tomorrow. Tomorrow by, I would say, submit it to us by, what do you say, Shagun? Say 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the evening?
I think everyone needs to enjoy their lunch also. So let's do 5 o'clock. It's the end of a work day. So
all right. So 5 o'clock, guys. So if you can submit it to us by 5 o'clock, that will give us a chance to actually have a look at it. And at 9 p.m. when the stream starts, we will, so we'll share. Also, guys, by the way, so there are different formats, right? So the question might be, how do I submit it? And the answer is, you can submit it in several mediums. You can make a PDF. You can write down. If you have, documentation, if you like making documentation, you can actually make a little document. You get extra points for formatting, for cleanliness. Check out these slides. I'm just going to go back these slides, okay? I'm going to just check out these slides by Shagun. This is what, this is beautiful. Look at how well he's presented it. Look at how clean it is. This is what a good document looks like. Right now, try your best to reach the standard. You will get special brownie points for formatting as well. Also, you can make a video, right? You can put your phone in front of you and you can do an elevator pitch, 1 minute or 2 minutes. You can have a video, and you can have a PDF. This is up to you. Impress us, knock us out, and let's now talk about the prize. The prize is a 50% scholarship to the gamer to make a game design and production program. Now, if you are already in the gamer to make a course and you do well, you'll get a bonus session with me. You'll get a mentoring session. So if you're in the gamer to make a course, that's what you get. Also, guys, if there are women, girls, females here, I want you guys to learn game design. So there is also a scholarship for girls, for women who are interested in getting into video game, becoming game designers. So make sure you submit the program. There's going to be one overall, and I'm going to be giving away part scholarships as well to women. So make sure that you do this. And once again, where are the details of this going to be? So let me actually put that in the Gamer to Maker server. I actually have a channel which is called Bootcamp, right? So there is a bootcamp chat. There's a special category in the Gamer to Maker Discord server, which is the game Bootcamp. Post all your stuff in the chat, and in the chat is where I'm going to be actually posting the details to this document. Okay. Do you want to answer some of these questions, Shagun?
Oh yeah, 100%. So right, I'm just gonna go back. Okay, so dice mechanic actually is a small error. The text is not updated. Let me clarify that first. The idea about detailing a mechanic is essentially break it down, explain to us how it works. Now, rolling dice is a great way of a probability mechanic. Maybe you want to make an RPG, then make a few variables and say, okay, character has health, they have attack, damage, defense, whatever. And then make a formula saying, okay, when you attack, you minus strong defense, you minus health, defense, so on and so forth. So it's stuff like that. Essentially, break down a mechanic. You can use cards, you can use dice, you can use whatever you want. You want to talk about a slingshot mechanic? Okay, then maybe understand how Angry Birds does their slingshot mechanic, right? Because actually that's basically you're inscribing parabolas. So that is the challenge for you, to teach yourself a bit of quick 10th grade math. Revise it. I was very bad at math once upon a time, but it's easy to get back to. Something like that, right? If it's cards, if it's Clash Royale, and talk about the energy mechanic and how that works, right? Essentially detail it out. Word limit, if you're doing a presentation, I would say make it like 10 slides, 10 to 15 slides. Don't stress too much about everything. Go with the flow. Go make sure the document flows well, and that at least the core logic that you have is reasonably well thought out. If you're doing it on a notebook, then a couple of pages. Again, if you answer all the questions, do go how you feel comfortable doing this. Know this thing. Battle Royale, you're being asked, Rahul. I would say anyone can do whatever game that comes to them. Just again, don't forget to do the research, and remember there is something that your game should stand. Your game should stand out somehow. So don't forget to include the cool factor in your game. Yeah, I think that's all the questions, Rahul. I don't see.
Yeah. So I have posted. I posted the link. Let me. Yeah. I posted the link, guys. Let me see if I can share my screen, and I can actually show you that. Yeah, hang on a sec. Let me go to my Discord.
Can you right?
Yeah, here it is. This is the Gamer to Make a Bootcamp. This is the server, and this is the link right here. So go to the video description, guys. In fact, let me post a link to the server right here in the chat. No? Okay. I'm not supposed to post links. My campaign manager tells me. So, all right, it's in the video description, guys. So make sure that you join the Discord server. The instructions are there. And any questions, we have Discord, right? Become part of the community as well. And that's it. Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing my screen now.
Yeah, I'm also gonna stop sharing. I think.
Yep.
All right,
guys. So that's it. That was awesome, Shagun. That was so good. Thank you so much. And I'm really looking forward to what you guys come up with tomorrow. So tomorrow is day 3, and I will see all of you. Share this with your friends. Tell your friends. Join up Saturday night. It's going to be awesome. Thank you so much, Shagun. And thank you, everyone. I will see you guys tomorrow night. I will see you on Discord. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
See you, everyone. Thanks for having me, Rahul.
Thank you, Shagun.